I'm Miss Michelle. This week, we're going to talk about the wind. What is wind? Wind is air in motion. So we have the sun, it heats air differently in different spots, creating different areas of pressure. So the expansion of warm air is a part of the process. So when we have less pressure where it's warm than where it's cool. So we have this air, it moves high to low pressure. This pressure and this movement is wind. So it's when air is going from the warm areas into the cool area, creates wind in that movement. Wind is a renewable natural resource. So there's always wind. We're not going to run out of it. So we don't use it up. You know, when we use wind in the machines that, use it to create energy and do whatever jobs they're doing for it, it's not like, oh, here's all the wind we used. It's no good anymore. Let's throw it away. No, it just keeps going and doing its thing, whether we use it or not. So, what can wind do, right? Why is it such a resource? So, wind provides transportation. Provides transportation to sailboats. You know how sailboats work? They have their sail and they get their energy to go forward based on the wind. And, the sailor controls that sail as to how much wind it's going to take in and which direction it's going to allow that wind to move it. Birds. Of course, birds use the wind for transportation. Yeah, they flap, but when they take a break, the wind provides them a transportation of a break. So you think of all that flapping birds do, I'm sure the wind provides them miles of transportation. Hot air balloons. Hot air balloons are pretty interesting how they work because at different levels of the air, so there's different pressures, that wind is going at different directions. So right here, the wind may be going this way, and then over here, the wind going this way. But here in the middle, it's going out towards you. Up here, it's coming towards me. The hot air balloon has, a fire source that creates hot air, and that hot air is going to rise. Heat rises. So the controller of the hot air balloon can control the rising and the falling with that. But they have a machine that lets them know where in that air the wind is going in the direction that they want it to go. Pretty neat. And sports. So a few sports that use wind as their source. Any sport that uses a sail, like parasailing or kite sailing, is going to use wind. And without the wind, they wouldn't exist. Also, the wind, it cools our body temperature. So if it's really hot, some wind comes by, it's going to cool us down. Or if we're outside and it's a little chilly and it's real windy, it's going to make us a lot colder. So what wind does is it removes the warm air right immediately next to your skin. So the feeling of cold is like the wind chill. So it's like feeling cold when wind is strong due to fast heat loss from the body. So the faster the wind's going to go, the faster it's pushing that warm air off your body, and you're getting cooler and cooler. You don't have a chance to generate this body heat on the top of your skin. So, also, what can wind do? Let's talk about the first wind-powered machine. It was an organ. An organ's kind of like a piano. It has keys, and you push the keys, and it makes a different tone each key you push. Organ's just engineered a little different than a piano, but it was powered with a wind wheel. So I'm guessing the wheel had sails, and the wind would hit it at different rates and drop a gear, because a lot of our wind powered things work on gear rotation, that would sound off the different buttons. So, and that machine was built by a Greek engineer in the 1st century AD. So the wind, it protects the environment. It protects the environment. Proof. China in 2015 reported that they got more electricity from their wind farms, the turbines, than from any toxic source of energy in nuclear plants, which, you know, and China has the most nuclear plants out of any country. So, wind turbines. What do wind turbines do? They generate energy based on the wind. So, I don't know if you've ever seen the wind turbines out in the fields. If you go up north and near Chicago, you see the big farms that have these big looking fans. They're 3 blades, and these blades, they're 200 to 300 feet tall. So these blades in this wind turbine, it works the opposite of a fan. It looks like a fan. So the way a fan works is energy goes out through a box and is used up in the spinning. So what they're doing with the wind turbine is they're using the wind to blow the propellers back into the box where the energy is, and it's building up the energy coming from the spinning of the wind, not using energy out to spin the fan. And lastly, we'll talk about the windmill. When you think of wind and how do we get resources from it, you think of the windmill. It was first built in the 18th century in Holland. Of course, to drain flooded land. We think of windmill, we think of water, we think of Holland. So the windmill is a type of engine. So it's been used in history to saw wood. It could grind grain or spices. Also, the pumping of water. So, the windmill uses the wind to make energy, right? So what it does, it slows down the wind speed. Then wind flows over shaped blades, causing lift, like an airplane. But it doesn't go anywhere because it's on a wheel and it goes over. So you constantly have that over and creating that wheel to turn. So the blade's connected to a gear, and then that gear turns an electrical generator to produce electricity. Very similar to the same concept that wind turbines work on that we just talked about. Clearly, wind turbines got a lot of their engineering from the modern historical design of the windmill. There's also a really cool experiment that I'd like you guys to check out. You can make your own wind-powered car. I'm gonna set you up with a video that I found on YouTube to make that. It's pretty quick.